All right, welcome back to Rock Forever. We've got a very special guest. He's got an amazing new single and a celebrity endorsement from the original authors. Would you please welcome from Rochester, New York, Joey Arena. He goes by the name Arena. Welcome, Joey.
How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you, and to hear this song, is not only an amazing rendition, but to just be able to get a blessing from the person that wrote it in a legendary band. So the band is Van Halen. The album is 5150. This is the first album as Edward Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony are coming out of transition, that David Lee Roth has left the band after 12 years in the group and 6 amazing albums. So a little bit of pressure, but Sam didn't feel it because, Sammy's coming into the band fresh and new and like, hey, man, let's knock it out of the park. Let's not worry about, what's his name, and they just slayed everybody with the amazing sound. Why Can't This Be Love? And the song that you've covered and so many other great songs on the album. So tell us about the song that you covered and really what was the, feeling behind it. Like, I've got to do this song. I got to pay tribute to, what this song means to me.
So yeah, I covered Dreams. It's my favorite Van Halen song. Again, it's the soundtrack to my childhood is the way I like to put it. It's my favorite song. I played it, on repeat. I probably drove my mom nuts listening to it over and over. And I felt that, about 8 months ago, I wanted to cover this song. And I started working on it and with my producer, and he was totally on board with it. It's his favorite Van Halen song as well. So it just happened to work out. And that was really, yeah, I just wanted to kind of enjoy the song and try to just not really put my own spin on it so much, but just, again, have fun with it. Have fun with a song that I already thought was already perfectly written.
Yeah, well, it had so much in that album, Good Enough, Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, Love Walks In, 5150, the title track, Get Up, Inside. So obviously coming right out of the gates, Sam didn't really feel like covering too many of the Raw songs, even though they know they had to do Jump. They probably had to do Panama. Maybe they do Ain't Talking About Love or some of those classics. But, so much of the focus when they went out on tour for the first time together, was this album. And, it's pretty brave, to go out as a band with such a history and such a catalog. And the album just came out. So a lot of people in the arena weren't necessarily that familiar, besides maybe the single on the radio. So they won them over with just the pure, heart and soul they had in these songs. But now talk about your collaborator, JD, and what he brought to the project.
So JD has been a longtime friend of mine and also my producer for quite some time now. He is a phenomenal musician and one hell of a guitar player. And there would be nobody better fitting, than having him, rip any Eddie Van Halen riffs other than him and getting them as, damn near close to. So I wanted to have JD feature on it because his talent speaks so loud, and it was truly an honor to have him be a part of it as well.
And JD, of course, is Justin DeBerk, and he is from Ice Nine's Kills, from Rochester, New York. You guys have really put together something special here. And, like we talked, it's cold up there, and, Van Halen always emits that California feeling, like it's sunshine and, the palm trees and the margaritas or whatever are flowing. It's just a good time feel. Talk about, growing up and hearing this music and, the kind of warmth that made you feel just when you heard these songs in this band.
Yeah. So Van Halen definitely, I can definitely feel that Cali vibe with him for sure. And I would say that when I heard Dreams again, like it kind of, it came out, I heard it in the early 90s on the radio, and I I remember trying to search high and low for that song at such a young age. And finally at the end of the Power Rangers movie that came out in 95, that song came on and I was like, that's that freaking song. And in that movie I watched it, nonstop, and primarily that ending was the best part, was because of that song. That song is what gave that ending, so much lift. And just me growing up with brothers and stuff, we used to just pretend we were Power Rangers and fight in the backyard and jump out of trees and just be crazy. And I just remember that song. We would always put that song on as well while we were just out being boys and stuff, and put it in our Walkmans and, and all that stuff. And it was just it just brings me back to those times when I hear that song, and it keeps me young. It keeps me, so it hits a different style of warmth, I would say, not so much temperature wise, but it hits a very warm place of being young and carefree. And I think it's the most ultimate feel good song. And a lot of these reasons that I'm naming are the reasons why I wanted to kind of cover it and really honestly pay tribute. It is a cover, but I like calling it a tribute song because I had to add the quote in there that really showed the love between Sammy and Eddie. And that was something I wanted to show because I love that Eddie was such an influence, not only as me as a guitar player, but Sammy speaks about Eddie influencing him in the writing process of songs like Dreams and Right Now and When It's Love. And that is, I love that. I love that, even being in a band and all the bands that I've been in, and like just to hear that Eddie influenced Sammy, and Sammy had his solo gig going and he was blowing up, and like the whole story of how he got into Van Halen was just incredible. And I went down the rabbit hole of just watching hours and hours and hours of YouTube interviews, just between for Sammy and Sammy and Eddie and Sammy and the band. And it was just so good to go down that, and you could just see there was a lot of magic at that time between all of them, and it was great to see that.
Yeah, it was certainly an incredible impact on you. And let's talk a little bit about, and you can tell us how you got it to him, but to be an independent artist on your own, blazing your own trail, you've got so many original songs, but you decided to do this cover. And I hear you might be doing some more covers in the future. But, Mr. Sammy Hagar himself, and this is a quote, this is only a portion of the feedback, but he says, quote, "Arena's cover of Dreams could be my favorite cover anyone has done of any of my songs. I'll give it 5 stars and a must hear," unquote, Sammy Hagar. I mean, you can only imagine how many hundreds of covers have been done of the various songs along the way, both as a solo artist and with Van Halen. Talk about, getting the song to him and being moved by this enormous feedback.
Yeah. So my manager and publicist got in touch with his management, and they just again, we were just taking a shot on it. She ran it by me. She goes, "How would you feel about that?" I go, "That would be amazing." I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath because he's the Sammy Hagar, and to me, he's like, unreachable. So I go, "But if we could do it, let's do it. Whatever. What do we got to lose?" And his manager came back and says, "Great news, Sammy loves it." And we were kind of like blown away. We're like, "Wow." And he's like, "Can you give us a little bit more feedback on Arena and everything?" So we gave him a list of my successes over the years. And I've been an active and touring musician since I was 17. Like when I had my first serious band and started touring and stuff was when I was 17. So we, from that, created a nice little solo biography of accomplishments and all that stuff, and sent it over. And Sammy, we shortly after got this written, paragraph of a quote from Sammy. And like what you just read was the tail end of it, and it was just unbelievable. It was just as you read it, it was genuine. It was not, it wasn't like some artist, would probably give like just a one sentence, like, yeah, the song was great, good job. Sammy had like, thoroughly went into detail, and then when he sent over the visual quote, um, you can really, um, you can really tell he had gone very deep into it, and he gave us his blessing, and he said he was behind it, and that was like an unbelievable feeling. I had gotten damn near close to choked up. My manager called me, and she was like about to be in tears, and we were completely blown away by the response. We didn't expect it, and it was something I will never forget easily.
Well, it's a timeless song. You've certainly put your own stamp on it, and it's going to have a whole nother, life with you and in your project. And I understand you're so moved by, what, has already been, such feedback and joy out of making this song, that you're considering doing some other great covers, possibly from the era of the 80s, and really putting your own unique sound and spin on some other great classics.
Yeah, it was not an original thought to do something like that. I did Van Halen just because as I was building this project, I picked, my favorite song from that era, and I wanted to do something like that. But seeing how fun it has been singing, and it's given me a whole new workout as a vocalist. And in my opinion, the vocalists from the 80s are unfreaking beatable. Same thing with the musicianship. I think that you were a breed of a whole different musician in the 80s, in my personal opinion. And and I like pushing myself. I really do. I like trying new things a lot as a vocalist, as a guitar player, as a musician. So I might, be taking a stab at other songs. I've definitely entertained the idea of it. And we'll see what comes of it. Right now, I have a couple originals that I'm about to release, and I guess we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I know the lifeblood of the music industry is definitely your songs, the originals, and all that. But people are touched by a great cover of a song they already know, and you putting your stamp on it. And I understand from Rochester, New York, it is also the home of the legendary Lou Gramm, the original voice of Foreigner, and of course, Lou and Mick Jones, who co-produced the 5150 album and Dreams, had so many, incredible songs and albums, and just, were a force at radio coming up in the late 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, we are super excited. I know it's available now for streaming and download. Check out Dreams by Arena. And we really appreciate you joining us. And I know you're going to be featured in that Van Halen documentary coming up, VH Forever. So what a joy, to spread this love for music out to so many incredible music lovers, and hopefully touch, music fans of all styles, especially those, Van Halen music lovers that would love to hear, a new update of the Edward Van Halen and Sammy Hagar classic, Dreams. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.